So we've got this fancy building that we built inside of SketchUp, and somehow we want to bring this thing straight into Unity so that we can put it in our scene and walk around or interact with it, that sort of stuff. So it's pretty easy to do inside of SketchUp. Basically, all you got to do is export it directly into your Unity project. You can export it to a different directory and then copy it in by hand. But when you do that, you got to make sure that you bring in all the different pieces for it. So I just like to go in and export 3D model straight to my Unity project. And here we are right in my assets folder. And the format, if you have the cheap version, like I have, cheap meaning free, you have a couple choices. We'll export as DAE. If you have the pay one, or you have you're still in the trial, you have a few more options. FBX probably works a little bit better, but we'll just export as DAE. Let's leave the name the same as entitled. And it's exported. So now if we go over to our Unity project, now we have, here's our old previous scene with stuff from the asset store. Now we have this barn that we created and we can just drag it in. But that's gigantic. So I am going to delete that out of there. And we can look at over here, if we click on it, we have some options over here. And one of them is a scale factor. And this is how to scale it when you bring it in. Sometimes between different programs, you have to set the scale factor differently. I'm going to set it for 0.1 just to make it smaller. And then we can always scale it once we put it inside of our scene. But this is just sort of like what the default is. And then the other thing that we can do over here is this generate sliders. Remember, we did that for these buildings we brought in before so people can actually crash into them. And I'll hit apply. And then now I can drag my building out into our scene and just leave it there. And now we're good to go. And I think if we go over this hill, we should be able to see it. And there it is. So, and if I try to crash into the side of it, hopefully we don't go through the walls because we did do the generate colliders. Yeah, so we're not going through the walls. So anyways, that is good, and that is a quick way to bring something from SketchUp, anything from SketchUp, whether it's something you created or something you got from the warehouse, bring it in and dump it into your Unity scene. And just to clarify, we have our prefab down here with all these different pieces to it. And inside of Untitled, we have our different materials to texture different pieces with it. And our prefab here has a scale factor, which we set to 0.1. And that is different than once you have an object, there is also this scale here that we can do what we did before, make this thing obnoxiously long, or we could make it really, this way, or go back one, make it taller, whatever we want to do, we can set all that here. But the scale factor that is inside of the prefab is, just for our defaults when we move it in. So that is really all that I wanted to show you as far as just bringing in objects. It's pretty straightforward and pretty simple to bring in something that you've created inside of SketchUp. And it doesn't have to just be a building like this. It could be a map. It could be the inside of a building for FPS or something like that. You can bring it in. You can make it as big as you want. Just dump it in here, generate your colliders, and you should be good to go.